After a dramatic week involving Donald Trump and the Epstein scandal, his base may be realizing that the president is actually the boy who likes to cry wolf. Here's just a taste of everything that Donald Trump has called a hoax, and I'm probably not even getting it all in. A scam or a con job or fake. Polls, the news, global warming, impeachments, the COVID response, the Mueller report, election results, jobs numbers. Add the Epstein files to this list, even though he and his allies made a whole to-do during the campaign out of them and getting them to be released. And because of that, his effort to block the files from becoming public is failing. Republicans are bracing for mass defections and a vote to release them, in part because emails surfaced showing Jeffrey Epstein saying that Donald Trump knew about the girls, spent hours at his home with one of the victims, and Epstein also suggesting that he has leverage over Trump. So, for MAGA's base, is this the time when the wolf actually shows up? Here with me now, the team. Let's go. So, why investigate? The biggest thing that has happened is Donald Trump's social media at the end of the week saying that in light of all of this, even though I could have done this and instructed this a long time ago, even though the file, we said it was case closed, he's now saying that he's asking Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan Chase, and many other people and institutions to determine what was going on with them and him. Why investigate now and not just release the files?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, look, how can anyone, even people who are supporters of the president, know what's going on here? The president knows he's in the Epstein files. He sits on the Epstein files. In July, the Justice Department and the FBI say, nothing to see here. The case is closed. Donald Trump, more leaks about being in the Epstein files, has to create a distraction. All of a sudden, the case is back open. Even though the FBI and DOJ said the case was closed, what new evidence do they have? I don't know. Apparently, it's because the president just wants to put the attention on someone else. That's so obvious what is happening here. Anyone knows it. And by the way, the littlest detail to me was the biggest thing about all of this. Is this week, Kate, they were trying to strong-arm Republicans into pushing this discharge petition out of the House. You know where they did that? The White House Situation Room. You know how many conference rooms there are in the White House? I've worked there. There's a lot of conference rooms. You only do things in the White House Situation Room when, wait for this, you don't want it to become public and you're trying to hide it. They are trying to hide something. They're trying to hide the president's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein.
Important caveat. Donald Trump has not been accused of anything illegal. Donald Trump has not been accused of any wrongdoing, which reinforces the question of why do you think he's going down this path? Angie?
Why now? Well, because Democrats just had a major loss with the government shutdown, and we need to change the narrative, right? We need to flip it back onto the Epstein files. Really, guys? We're going to recycle something that's been dead for so long. No one cares about this stuff. They care about, real American voters. We care about affordability and other real things, not about Epstein. Yes, it's salacious. Yes, there's sex and girls and powerful politicians, but quite honestly, I don't care about it. But now we have to flip the narrative because Democrats had a loss. I don't know. I think this has been recycled too many times.
Kind of a bizarre position. You don't care that the president might be a pedophile? You don't care that
the pedophile.
You don't. No evidence of that.
No, there's no evidence of it. But that's what. No, it's not insane. That's what we've been talking about all week.
There is no evidence of that. We are not going to.
No, but that's what the emails have been talking about. That's what we've been talking about all week. That's why he doesn't want to release the files. And to say that nobody cares is kind of absurd. If the president is a pedophile, we should know about it, and people would care about that.
All right, no one is suggesting that President Trump is a pedophile. The nobody cares element of it is part of the issue, which is basically the entire Trump cabinet had said that they wanted these files released.
Yes.
Because they were so that is the problem that they have now. I mean, you have the president saying that he wants to see an investigation now. He wants to see an investigation.
Family show. So this is like an F around and find out moment for the Democrats. They wanted to do things like what you were doing, throw the word pedophile around. They wanted to leak documents this week that were redacted to try to embarrass the president. Well, now the Democrats want to get to the bottom of this. Well, let's have a new investigation. Let's reopen. Who knows what might have been missed? Let's see what Bill Clinton was doing on the plane with Jeffrey Epstein. Let's see what Larry Summers was doing. Why did J.P. Morgan Chase settle for $300 million with these victims? I think these are all valid questions.
Well, but Lance, why did the president say the case was closed?
I let you talk. It wasn't good enough that the House Oversight Committee was doing their investigation and releasing droves and droves of documents. No, because you guys had a bad week on the government shutdown front, you wanted to start leaking.
right.
Well, hold on.
We will now.
Time out on you guys.
But it's not
I'm not
about-
a Democrat. What new evidence is there?
Look, we know that they were on the
What new evidence is there?
We don't know what was missed. I don't know.
So,
it's a good question.
I will say-
Why did the
you guys
DOJ
are
say the
throwing
case was closed?
You guys are throwing terms like pedophile around. Well, we can go back and take a look and see who
Jeffrey
was a
Epstein
pedophile
is a
and was hanging
pedophile.
around with the
So
pedophile.
one of the interesting bits about it is Ro Khanna, one of
He's
the
calling Trump the pedophile.
which he has not been accused of
Correct.
that. That is not the issue at hand. Ro Khanna, who's one of the members of Congress who has led the charge on the discharge position, he said late this week, like, fine, that's great that actually the Justice Department wants to investigate. As part of, we want to have the files put out. That they investigated files. They could have put this out. This does not need an act of Congress.
Then
to
why
have
did
these
the
files put out.
Democrats object when Representative Tim Burchett of Tennessee said, well, let's just do unanimous consent and get this out the door today? No, the Democrats objected. Why? Because they want to put Republicans onto a vote so they can try to use it in the next election. It is all political garbage from them. The president is 100% correct.
Could all of these things be true at once? That people actually want the investigative files out, that the White House doesn't want them, Donald Trump does not want them to be released, and both sides are using an opportunity, Donald Trump in a social media tweet late this week, and Democrats at the beginning of the week, to their political advantage of when they actually put things out. I mean, can all these things be true at once?
Yes.
But doesn't the end result still come down to why not just put everything out?
Totally.
That would be great.
I
Let's do
just,
that.
like,
Why
I
won't the
don't
president
think-
do that? Why won't the FBI?
A lot of people will say
House
that they do not
Oversight-
think
we
that Donald
have
Trump
the
did
House
anything
Oversight-
wrong. He may face embarrassment, but not like he's going to face more than that.
The House Oversight Committee has released nearly 50,000 documents. The Epstein estate has released documents. The documents continue forthcoming. They are proceeding on a bipartisan basis in Congress. That's what shows you the Democrats are using this
but
as
Lance,
a
but Lance,
political.
but Lance,
suggesting
but
that
Lance,
this
but
is-
Lance.
That's
But Lance,
not
How
good
much
enough.
more do you need?
So you think they should release the information about these Democrats, right?
I think we could absolutely do a reinvestigation or take a look at what these guys
Should they
are doing.
release the information about Trump too?
Release what information? You guys have been leaking
The
information
files,
all week.
the files the president said should be released.
That's my whole
What do you
point.
mean, you guys? I'm not here to shill for the Democratic Party.
Well, it sure
I
sounds
think
like
they
you
should
are.
release it on Trump.
It sounds
I
like
think
you
they should release it on
absolutely are.
Democrats. Whatever they have.
This is interesting
on
because
this
it's
convicted
not, this is
pedophile,
not,
release it.
this is not a DR issue because polling shows both Republicans and Democrats want to see this out. So to take this as like, well, let's look at Bill Clinton, let's look at Larry Summers, you're taking a Republican perspective. We as a country want to know what happened. We should know what happened. It's not a left-right issue. Why won't we just know what happened?
I'm a lifelong
And
conservative.
just look at
Let it all out.
and just look at who all is going to be voting on this discharge
I think to
petition.
your
You're going to have
point,
a lot of Republicans who want as well. You had John Kennedy. I can even play it, guys. Let's play what Republican Senator John Kennedy said about what this is going to look like when it comes to the Senate. Listen to this.
I just don't think this issue is going to go away until that issue is addressed and answered to the American people's satisfaction. And I may end up with a sombrero on my head for saying that, but that's the way I see it. I think he ought to put it on the floor. I think this issue has got to be resolved one way or the other.
He's talking about John Thune, the Republican leader in the Senate.
Yeah.
He thinks he's going to have to put it to the floor. Gets to the floor. Let's make big assumptions. It's going to pass through the House. It gets put on the floor. It's going to pass through the Senate. Do you think there is a chance that Donald Trump would veto this?
Of course.
I do, yeah.
I don't
course
think
he
so
will.
at all. Why would he
he will.
veto? He wants this
Why would
information out
he
there.
doesn't have to do any of this.
want
He
this
doesn't need
out.
the vote.
That is a
He could do
fantasy.
it right
He does
now.
not want
he
this
could do it right
out.
now.
He
Why is he
has.
waiting for a vote of Congress,
He's-
Angie?
He
asking
actually
the
doesn't need
DOJ
to do
to
anything. The
push it
Justice
out.
Department can release it on their own.
Why
They have
is
been
he
able
waiting
to do this
for
the entire time.
Congress to pass it? Why doesn't he just tweeted new investigations into private American citizens? Why can't he just tweet?